Monte, you got any plans for the big 3-0?
Sleep. Sleep, hang out with the wife. I think we got a off day that day, so I don't know what my wife got planned, but whatever she got planned, we know we're going to enjoy it.
We're all interested in your why. After a professional baseball career, what's motivated you, and how are you doing it this year?
What motivated me is always something that I wanted to do. Out of high school, I committed to Nebraska to play football and baseball. But when Major League came in, they offered a number that I couldn't really pass up, and that was my number. So I took it, but it got to a time period where I felt like football was the time for me to go back. It's not traditional route, but at the end of the day, it's still football, and I still am an incoming freshman, you know what I mean, even though it might look a little different. But, no, it's just a transition more than anything. I give props to Pitt to give me the time period to be able to transition my body back to a football body, and now it's just moving forward and really know the playbook and go out there and compete.
For Raylen Omega, Coach Foucher just here mentioned all three of you guys are having some leadership roles. Can you maybe talk about, with so much newness in the room, what you feel like your role is in trying to help lead as well, both y'all?
For me, just maturity-wise, you got to have a short-term memory loss in this, in football itself. So, if I'm talking to Ferg and things like that, if you drop a football, just being able to shake back, things like that. And then, at this time point, fall camp is new to them, to a lot of guys and freshmen. So it's something that they've never been used to. So just being able to learn quickly, because everyone can play in our room. I feel like we have the best receiver room in America, and that's from upperclassmen to lowerclassmen. So just being able to get them to a spot where they feel that they're very confident to be able to play.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to just touch back on what Raylen said. It goes to, just thinking back when I was a young freshman and the things that I didn't do so well, and just looking back and, just making sure they do the things that I wasn't able to do or couldn't do when I was a freshman, because like I said, the opportunity is golden for them, and they improving every day, honestly. And like you said, us three as being the leaders in the room, or not just only us three, we try to put in their head that they're a leader too, so they can continue to feel, well, not be as comfortable as they think they are, but just stand on them and making sure they handle their business the way they need to.
Omega and Raylen, you guys are, I know, Omega, you had a couple seasons at South Carolina, but making this jump now from where your previous school to the SEC, what's kind of been the biggest level of adjustment? What have you two been really focused on trying to work on here before the season gets going?
I belong here, honestly. This is where I always wanted to play at. I'm going to go out there this year and do the same thing I did last year and be even better. And, it's a lot of bad out there I did, and it's a lot of good, but, just put that together and make it happen. So that's really it.
For me, regardless of my journey, I feel like I should have been playing in the SEC since my freshman year. But things go left. Everything doesn't go as planned as you want to. But I thank God for the journey He's put me on. And I think the big thing is for me is just the IQ level. Not just using talent, but using my intelligence as well, to be able to set up a lot of different things and just set up for me and make things easier. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is just, studying the game, knowing what I'm going against, knowing tendencies, things like that. So I think that'll be the biggest thing for me.
Monte, you might not be the biggest wide receiver in the room anymore with Antonio Jordan now here. What's kind of been your first impressions of the freshman, and what has stood out to you with his game so far?
Very impressive, very explosive. A guy first day willing to come in and be ready to learn. A guy who loves the game. You could easily see it, you know what I mean? Even when, I remember one time we was running routes and it was all kind of like older dudes, and he had class or something like that. He ran in, was just in normal clothes and decided to hop in the drill. That tells you a lot about a guy. But these first couple of days has been kind of impressive, just the plays he's been making and just the role he's coming into. I know he's still a freshman, but there's growth, but he's advanced for sure. And I got high hopes for him, and I got high praise for him for sure.
Monte, you mentioned having to get your body right into the football mode. I'm curious, on the field, did you have to knock off some rust last year? Kind of when did you get comfortable again, feeling like, okay, I'm back into football mode?
Nah, it definitely took some rust. I mean, I didn't put the pads on until fall camp around this time last year, and that was my first time in 10 years. So I think rust is kind of an understatement. I need more than WD-40 to be able to get through it. So, But no, it took its rust. I think when I got through probably, I'll say like the 5th or 6th game of the year, I felt like I started to transition and started to feel more fluid. And then once I got into spring, the exact same thing happened. And then my main emphasis after that was really in the summer was like how much can I compete with myself every single day. I don't challenge guys in the room to be able to compete with each other, even though we do compete with each other, but how can I look myself in the mirror every single day and compete with myself? That's the only person that really matters.
And Raylen, you mentioned using your IQ. You've got experience in Coach Petrino's system. How much does that help, and does it feel like you've kind of picked up right where you left off previously?
I think it helped me tremendously in the spring, just being able to come in and play fast. Just as a receiver, when you don't really know the playbook, it's really hard to just be yourself. So that was the good thing. But, being able to teach the others, just because it was his first year last year, some guys were still learning. So I was able to come in and being able to help those guys as well, and just being able to, give them some tips and things like that, just things I've learned. And just the way he wants it. He's a perfectionist, so he wants it just as detailed as he wants it. So, you got to go his way and his way only.
And I got to give credit to him for that. He definitely came in hitting the ground rolling, even though being in Bobby's offense before, he wasn't a shy guy. He came in, Lil, we need to do this, we need to do that, and I took a lot of respect to that.
I guess for
Omega, you obviously were in the spring. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like after spring break, you kind of flipped a switch. Is that correct in saying that? It looked like you really started surging after that break.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Like I said, been in the room with guys like Raylen and Monte, staying on me and just making sure that I am comfortable and in this playbook. Making sure that we do the little things helped out a lot. So just taking that off time and really getting in the playbook and understanding it more and learning how things going and how Coach P want things to go really helped out a lot. So it really helped me turn that switch.
I don't think I've ever met an Omega. What's the backstory from that? Where does that name come from? Great first name.
My parents Christian and I'm the last child. So in the Greek Bible it's the last. So.
Any thoughts ever to wear number 3? Maybe a missed opportunity for NIL.
Not really, man. Not really.
I guess for any of you guys, Coach Fouch was talking about how the group was coming together after CC was out. I guess just how tough was that, and how are the ways in which the group came together?
I think the biggest thing is we found a way to get him out of like a rut. I think that was the biggest thing for us, and he's helped us tremendously. And it's a hard loss, but you can see his excitement back. He's a very happy guy. He's a very enthusiastic guy. So to have him just on the sideline, having his tips as well, being a help is tremendous. But this room is the closest room I've ever been with. We laugh, we giggle all the time. It's not really fights and things like that. But the biggest thing that if we say something to one another, it's not like, oh, he's getting on me, things like that. It's coming from a good place. So just being able to learn from each other, and our energy feeds off each other, especially like today at a practice we had today. Just being able to feed off each other has been big.
And then Monte, for you, Coach Fouch was saying that he can almost trust you, almost like an assistant coach, to kind of deliver instructions or maybe hype the guys up. I don't know. Can you just expand on that a little bit? What's that like in practice?
I just try to be myself more than anything. Everybody want to be called a leader, but you got to be able to show up. I think they'll be able to answer that more, just coming from a receptive perspective. But I just try to put the action out there. If a guy's gonna be able to follow you, he got to be able to trust that you doing it. A lot of words don't really don't mean nothing. Actions speak 1,000 words. So you can tell by receptive they are, maybe just from baseball, but also being a little bit older. But you got to realize I just don't hop on the field and I just earn respect. I got to go out there and still play football. I got to earn their respect too, and that's what I look for day in and day out.
And Omega, for you, how do you think that your connection with Taylor has just progressed?
Just staying out to practice, running routes for him and getting the timing down and just talking to him and also meeting with him after some practicing and watching a little bit of film and just talking with him, man, and being open and just being around him. So that helped out a lot.
Omega, this being your third school now, how would you compare learning Petrino's offense and playbook maybe to other offenses you've been a part of? Is it more difficult?
Honestly, no, because, everybody in this conference run the same thing. They just use different terminology. So it wasn't hard. I just had to get used to the terminology that is used here and put it together. But it's like still connected.
How long do you think it took you to kind of feel comfortable in it?
Honestly, like I went through the spring, and took that little break. And once we jumped back in fall camp, I'll say I was right on it. Thanks to those guys too, man, because they be on me.
Monte, I'm curious. You talked about the transition and just going from professional baseball to now back to football, and you talked about you shaking off the rust and doing that. Where do you feel like playing in the pros has helped you now transition here? Or what was some of the difficulties that you went through in that transition process?
The highs and lows. Baseball's a game of failure, so you be a superstar or an all-star and you fail 70% of the time. So coming in every day being the exact same guy, no matter what you do, you can go 4 for 4 or 0 for 4. Just being the same guy every single day. The transition more than anything is just mental. You know what I'm saying? Mentally put myself in spots where I know I can be successful, and that's the way the game of baseball has helped me.
And I'm sure you've seen all the social media love that you've been getting and different accounts nationally. I know you guys are saying, yeah, we've seen it. Is it nice to see that you're still being recognized, here at this level now? You were recognized at the MLB level, but now seeing just, the excitement around you being 30 years old and saying, yeah, I can do it too, right?
It's love and hate on both sides. It's just what comes with it. I really don't get to see much just because the only social media I have is Instagram. So I try to limit myself as much as possible. And I started that at a young age. I try to tell these guys, man, like, as quick as they can love you, they can hate you at the exact same time. And that's not like to scare people or anything like that, but it's the internet. The internet's not really real. It's different when you have to walk into a room in front of 6'4", 2 whatever pounds to be able to say some of the things that they say on the internet. But also on the flip side, they do give a lot of love. And I take it, I don't want to say I take it with a grain of salt, but like I said, I just try to be the same dude every single day. So I really don't even look at it and just be Monte. Stay focused, keep your eyes on the prize.
Raylen and Omega, I want to ask you about what he was talking about there when we had Coach Fouch in here. They said, he is truly like almost an assistant coach, Monte being an assistant coach in that room. What's he been like just as a leader of that room? And can you talk a little bit about just that leadership role?
I tell him he has a dad tone. So
You tell me I got to do it.
so just the way he talks to you, I think the biggest thing sometimes you just got to hear the message. I think that was the biggest thing with young guys coming in, transfers, things like that. When we first heard him, we're like, why are you talking to us like that? But the biggest thing is just the message. And, he's done it before. So that's the best thing for us to just be able to hear him and, learn from him. And that's not even just football. That's if it's a car, if it's doing things like that, just certain things that we should do, shouldn't do, just learning from him and his mistakes and his success as well. So I think his message is always good. And I think the biggest thing with him being as a leader, that he listens to us as well. And that's the thing you have to do as a leader, is just being able to learn from, other guys as well, and not just feel like you're above everyone. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, man. Unc, man. So when I first got here, man, I remember him giving me a ride home. We had a talk, I'm like, yeah, man, listen to everything he say, took it in, man. Like I said, he never told me nothing wrong. And the simple fact, like Raylen said, he's like a dad, man. He's going to put you in your place when you're wrong, and then he's going to let you know when you all right or doing good. And just the way he approached every day is, like I said, you can tell he's hungry and he's got a point to prove. So with that being said, I just think, overall, he's just golden, man, and he's that guy for real. And he's the guy to be around each and every day and to learn from.
Raylen, I'm curious, you've known Talon since y'all's high school days, and now you're about to do your first season with him in college football. How has he grown maybe since y'all were in high school, and how have you seen him grown over the past maybe 5 months since you've been here on campus?
Sure, I've known him since elementary school, but in high school I remember, he was trying to gain weight. He'd have 4 PB&Js in the morning, things like that. Just seeing his grit, he hasn't changed a bit. That's the biggest thing, and he's hungry just to make us successful as well. I told him one day we go as he goes, and so our dreams are on his dreams as well. So he holds himself to a high standard. He holds us to a high standard as well. If we're just walking around, we're gonna throw the football, do something. We're going to talk about football. We're going to find out, like, if it's a certain concept, what you want to do, how he wants to do it, things like that. Like, we're just always talking football. But at the same time, he's a man of God as well. Being able to, get us in Bible studies, things like that, just being able to get us outside of football. It's not just football with us, I feel like. That's the biggest thing. With his family, things like that. He cooked the other day before camp, making burgers, things like that. Just doing things so everyone else can feel like a family. So he does that, and he's always going to have a smile on his face. He's hard on himself. So you sometimes just got to pick him up and just, it's one play and one day at a time.
Has anything, now you're here in your second year with Taylor, has anything stuck out to you in terms of his development, whether that's on the field, off the field, from year one as a starter here to now year two?
The confidence. You could definitely see the confidence level start to go up. I think everybody knows the stats and everybody talks about year two and Bobby. So, me personally, I expect a big jump from Taylor. I think he's going to do great things and be able to push this school to heights that we internally believe that we can believe. We don't really care about the outside noise and what they have to say, but I think Taylor's going to be a great leader and a great player on the field.
One more question for you about your journey here. Do you remember, like, when in the post MLB career you were like, the idea came, like, maybe I should do this, like, not even really taking it seriously, but maybe I kind of want to do this?
After the 2021 year, year 2021, and then it was close to getting around spring training time, and I had a couple schools. I had Nebraska call me, a couple other schools call me asking if I wanted to play football still, and I felt like at that time period it wasn't really time yet, just because I don't like leaving something where I feel like there's a what if there. So I give it a couple more years, and then after that I was like, all right, now I'm ready to go. And I made the decision to be able to, talk to schools and stuff like that. And I picked Arkansas because SEC, family. Pitt is really huge on family, and it's close to home for me. So I'll be able to take care of my kids and be able to travel home. My family be able to see me too.
So just to confirm, like, even when you were still playing baseball, it was in the back of your mind, maybe one day you want to go and play college?
After that 21 year, I got drafted in 14. So after 7 years, that was that kind of time period. I was just like, man, maybe it's probably time. But like I said, in that moment, I couldn't fully convince myself to do it. So 2 years later, that's when, boom, it happened.
How do you go about telling teams, like, hey, I'm down to play football again? Like, how did Arkansas find out about you? Did you have, like, an agent putting out the word, or kind of how did that go?
I had some people that, they got connections and stuff like that. When you hear about 27, 28-year-old trying to come back and play football, a lot of people think it's a joke. But I know myself, the people around me know me, how hard I work and how I go about my business. And like I said, I got in connections with schools. Some schools made offers and stuff like that to be able to come and play. So made my decision from there. And I feel like this was the place that it felt home. People don't know, this is my first ever offer too from baseball from Van Horn. So it was something about Arkansas that always stuck in my mind.
Do you remember when you got that offer from Coach Van Horn, like how old you were? Like
After my freshman year.
Okay.
After my freshman year, I took a visit down here, and I want to say Todd Butler was the hitting coach at the time. I would have committed, if I'm being perfectly honest, if he wouldn't have left.
And obviously it was a lot of money, but when the draft rolled around, was it a hard decision to pursue baseball, or was there a part of you that said, hey, I want to try to go to this two-sport thing at Nebraska?
I gave him a timeline. I think the draft happened on a Thursday, and I had to report to school on a Sunday. And I said I don't want to report to school and be having to still choose what I wanted to do. So I gave the Brewers 3 days to be able to choose, like, what y'all want to do. Like, don't play around. Like, we need to make this happen now. So by Saturday night, they drove down and gave me the offer, and then boom, I was signed that night.
I don't know how much free time you have with playing football now, but do you ever pick up a bat and go batting cages, or like do you ever do anything like that?
I don't. I got kids, 2 kids, so I mean, my son, he picks up the bat for himself, be wanting to play around with it, but I really don't have time. I mean, it might be some time in the future where I might, go and be able to do that, but right now, nah. My focus is on football and my guys right here.
You were a 3-sport guy, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you get any interest in basketball?
Yeah, I had offers in basketball. Actually, as a sophomore going into my junior year, I actually told my coach that I didn't want to pursue basketball anymore because, you see so many 6'2", 6'3" at the time that can jump and do all that. It's not very many 6'2", 6'3s that's athletic in football. There is, or baseball, but I think that was kind of more my brother's journey and what he wanted to do, and I didn't want to take that shine away from him.
Could you enlighten us a little bit on your connection with Talon from elementary and high school and stuff? How, like, y'all weren't on the same high school team, right? You were at Allen?
No, we were on the same high school team. He transferred his sophomore year. I played QB as well. Yeah, yeah. He got brought up his freshman year and my sophomore year, and then he ended up transferring. But we ran track against each other, things like that, summer track and things like that. He was a long jumper. We long jumped against each other, 400, all of that type of stuff. So been close with his family for many years. Our families are pretty close, so we go way back.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all. Man.